hitters of the day. Where are you looking for your quick hitter, Arky?
So I look at number 18, UConn, taking on West Virginia tonight. And West Virginia is a good team. I think both of these teams are 7-1. And West Virginia is getting 2.5 tonight. And I kind of don't get it, right? Like, I think UConn is the better team. And you can look at the statistics so far, and both teams have played good to fairly middle teams. So it's sort of kind of hard to judge A for B to sort of figure out what these two teams are. But I feel like everything that I've seen with UConn, and I've watched 3 of their games this year, everything that I pay attention to, they're better at than West Virginia, except for one category, and that's forcing turnovers. West Virginia is a monster at forcing turnovers. They force over 24 turnovers a game. They are a really, really, really good team. But they've always sort of been that under Bob Huggins. That's just sort of what they do. So I look at the fact that it's 2.5. Outside of that, West Virginia is sort of top third of the country type team. Nothing really special. And UConn seems to me right now better. And so despite all the statistics, despite the fact that they're much better in rebounding, they're way, way, way better in rebounding. Despite all of those, I'm using my eye test on this one. And I've only seen the majority of 2 West Virginia games, and it kind of feels like, from what I've seen, I like UConn plus 2.5 tonight. I'll buy it up to 3. But I think UConn probably wins the game outright. So I'll play the plus 3. I'll sprinkle a little on the money line itself. I think UConn's a better team than West Virginia tonight. So I picked UConn plus the 2.5 and 3, and I'll put a little on the money line too, because I think UConn, despite just the ranking itself, I think they're better right now.
All right. I like that. I am also looking at some college basketball action tonight. Number 19, Michigan State, who is 7-2, at Minnesota, who is 7-0. The first conference matchup for these two teams. Right now, MSU is favored by 5.5 with a total of 133.5. Michigan's 2 losses came at the hands of number 3 Kansas and number 6 Baylor. While this will be the first true test for Minnesota this season, although they barely got by Pitt, winning that game by just 1 point. So we'll see. Senior Gabe Brown leads the Spartans in scoring at 12.9 points per game, while on the other side, Jamison Battle is averaging 17.9 points a game for the Golden Gophers. That's the funniest mascot to me, by the way. Can you imagine being a Golden Gopher? This spread does feel a little tricky to me for some reason. As for the totals, though, MSU has combined for this number of 133.5 in 6 of their 9 games, while Minnesota has hit it in just 3 of their 7. Back to that spread. The Spartans are 2-1 against the spread when playing as the 5.5-point favorite and 6-3 on the season. Meanwhile, the GGs, that's what I'm going to call them now, are 1-0 against the spread and as a 5.5-point underdog, and have covered in 4 of their 7 games so far this season. Strength of schedule obviously definitely goes to MSU here. I just don't know what an undefeated team at home is capable of doing in terms of playing it close. The closest Michigan State has played a team this season was to Loyola by 3. And, well, we all know how they love to make an appearance come tourney time. Shout out to Sister Jean. So I think I'm on the fence. I do think, though, I'm going to lean Minnesota at plus 5.5. And I'm not super confident about it, but they're at home, first conference game, undefeated. So that's my final answer. Minnesota plus 5.5. We should probably move on to the next game before I change my mind, though.
I'll say it's not a bad play. The Big Ten is sort of a loaded basketball conference, and we talked about Michigan State at the very beginning of the season, how much they lost as far as graduation. Josh Langford's on the Big Ten Network, by the way. He was on that team last year. He's now an analyst on in the Big Ten Network right now, and they're a good basketball team because they've started to figure out who they are right now, and they needed some time to sort of get into that role. And so, yeah, this is not a bad spot for Minnesota here because, again, Michigan State hasn't had that conference game yet either, and Minnesota's a tough physical team.